We've got one last session in this round. Please welcome Uli Hitzel and Tina Zhao. Uli is the Vice President of Engineering and actually known to me from past lives. He's also a fellow at NUS, and Tina is an aspiring product manager who's coming through the FintechSG Singapore NUS program, and also I just found out is a former SQ flight attendant. So welcome both of you, and yeah, please take it away. Want to learn all about sentient APIs.
Yes, save the best for last. So thanks everybody for tuning in. Lunchtime in Singapore. Appreciate you maybe joining us from around the world. Yes, we started a little late. Let's roll. Hi Tina, how are you?
Hi, hopefully, hi everyone. I'm good. Hope everybody is having a good lunch break now with us.
Okay, well, let's start with our session. Let's build an AI-powered API. Right? So my problem with some of those AI sessions is that they're very theoretical. This is a different one. You just saw the title of the talk. When you see this slide, you may not be familiar with the engine yet. We're going to change that in the session today. In fact, the title was suggested by an AI engine. Right? So you can see here in this tool where the playground is open, I've actually come up with an AI-based API, and I thought that sounded a little odd. So I asked this AI engine, do you have a couple of suggestions for me for something that's a little better? And you see some of the results on the right, and then you get an idea how the title came to be. I'm very happy to have Tina with me. We're going to introduce ourselves in a moment. Yeah, why don't we start with this, Tina?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for the and also thank you, Akra, as a MC.
Can you speak a little louder? Can you speak a little louder, Tina?
If you can hear me now.
You're very quiet.
Okay, cool. Sure. Thank you, Prof. Uli, and also that the MC account for a brief introduction of me. Yes, my name is Tina Zhou, and I'm very glad to meet everybody here. And this is my first time attending API Days. And I used to, work as a flight attendant, like previously mentioned, and also is familiar with SIA. So currently I'm studying FintechSG with NUS, and I'm working towards to become a product manager in the future.
Great, thanks, Tina. Yes, the NUS connection is our meeting point. I teach DevOps at the FinTech program. I also run VP engineering for Vestiaire Collective in Asia Pacific. It's all about circular economy, pre-loved fashion. We are hiring a lot of tech people in China, in Vietnam, in Singapore at the moment. Do check us out on LinkedIn. There was several job openings. We'd be glad to get in touch. Talking about getting in touch, you see our LinkedIn handles. Tina, myself, we are on LinkedIn. Do reach out, do connect. John mentioned this in the keynote this morning. It's not just about the technical connections, it's about people building ecosystems. We can't wait to bring this back in the real world, but with LinkedIn and Zoom, we can also, get quite far. So do reach out. Okay, talk to us about the agenda today, Tina.
Sure. For the agenda today, we're going to cover the 3 points that's written on the slides here. So firstly, introduction of GPT-3, which is an AI engine that everybody can use. And secondly, we will be sharing few use cases that can be built from GPT-3. And especially, we're going to emphasize on AI's content moderation function and to take customer reviews from an e-commerce platform, for example, and return the sentiment analysis that generated by the GPT-3. And also, last but not least, we'll be showcasing the model training part and to create and consume an API that we built. And let's get started from the very first one now. So, everybody here talks about AI and machine learning today. So, what's your opinion about that?
Yes, what's my opinion? You see this in the first bullet point. To me, AI is still a marketing term, and there is also a certain inflation to it. I think a couple of decades ago, if we look at a machine that can play chess and win against the chess champion in chess, we think of it as AI. And a couple of decades later, for some reason, it's no longer AI because we have kind of an idea how it works. You see one of the examples in the bottom that somebody sent to me. If you press a button, the fridge keeps it at a certain temperature, and the company brands it as artificial intelligence. I'm not sure I want to go that far, but there is a clear difference to machine learning, neural networks, right? Where there is unsupervised learning of networks that trains itself on data and that we can leverage. And so in this case, when we talk about AI, in fact, we are looking at neural networks. It's the idea. We are gonna mostly speak about text generation, text completion, and all the incredible use cases that we can build from that. Over the Christmas holidays, I've actually used a connection of several AI engines to produce art. So all the pieces that you see here, I consider myself quite creative, but I've not done a single brush stroke on these. So here's the URL, just in case you want to look at the art pieces yourself. I'm just going to give you a few examples. So obviously this is best if you appreciate classic art, European, American. So this could be a Monet. This is an Edward Hopper. I actually like the Vincent van Gogh very much. I have this printed out on canvas, have it hanging on the wall. This is all AI generated. How this is done, we can talk about this in another session. In fact, on the API Geek website, you'll find a few clues on this as well. Just wanted to give you an idea how powerful this engine is that we're going to introduce to you.
I see.
It's called
I guess
GPT-3.
now that GPT-3, yes, sounds very interesting to everyone now. So what is it exactly about, Prof?
What is it exactly? Well, the company behind it is OpenAI, and you see here that there is a couple of prominent names, including Elon Musk, who can't seem to be able to get off the news, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, and so on. It's one of those gigantic pre-trained networks, and it's so big that you probably can't download it. And you see here it's been trained on 45 terabytes of data, including Wikipedia, including most of the books ever published, including all the digests of the internet. And this is how it's already been pre-trained. So when we're talking about training a model, this is no longer something you have to do. You don't have to teach this model about the French Revolution or about Egypt or the philosophy of Plato. This is already all included. You just have to add your specific context to it, and you're ready to go. Tina also mentioned this in the introduction. This is something that almost anybody can use, and most of all, you don't have to be a technical person. You sign up, you have you get an API. That's what you get. But there is a playground. There is an interface that also business analysts, recruiters can use. You see here, you enter a prompt at the beginning. So we're talking about prompts and completions. So in this case, the only thing that I have to put in is, can you explain AI to a non-technical person in a few sentences? Click submit, generate, and this text is generated. Try this out yourself. It's incredible. And when you look at the use cases, you can give this to hiring managers or recruiters to create job descriptions. They're not going to be 100% what you want, but they may get you 80% there. You can write articles, outlines for blogs, and so on. It's about text. You get that. But you also realize from my previous example with the art, text is often just an input for the next piece in the chain. Yeah, arts is great, text is great, but let's talk to Tina again. If we want to make the use of this in FSI, in enterprise companies, what are some of the use cases?
Sure. For the examples I can think about for enterprises, for example, like fintech companies, GPT-3 could use its machine learning to build a model that can identify the suspicious behavior based on the historical data, then to flag new transactions that match the patterns or fraud or money laundering, so that they can be investigated further. And for the use case of sentiment analysis, like we mentioned about, we'll be reviewing the code and the product demo later at the very end of the talk, so please stay tuned with us. And also, GPT-3 can be used to generate insights from like random data. Let's say today you bought a carrot and tomorrow buy a pineapple. Apple AI can analyze the trends and customers' preference and shopping patterns, and identify which day of the week like are most popular for shopping, and what type of products that people are really interested in and popular. So by understanding all this, business can better target their marketing and promotional efforts to attract small customers. Yeah, these are my some ideas about the user cases.
Okay. All right. Let's talk about this specific use case, right? So we want to build an API. When I look at the clock, we have a few minutes to show you this, and let's get off the slides as soon as possible. We want to build an API that allows you to do content moderation. And let's say you're running an e-commerce platform. Let's say your customers are asked to submit a review of their shopping experience. If you get thousands of reviews every day, do you want to moderate them manually? Or would you like to consume an API that helps you make decisions on what to do with these reviews, right? So if somebody posts something very offensive, maybe you want to just block the review. If it's super positive, you may promote that review a little more prominent on the website. And if it's a customer that's very upset, maybe you just want to hold on from posting this and give the customer a call, see if there is something you can do to make the situation better, and they change it, right? So this is the API that we want to build. Your e-commerce platform, your website, your shopping portal would be on the left. GPT-3 is the engine that we are using. It's on the right. And the API that we are building, you see in the middle, is that box, right? So the idea is to get an API to do sentiment analysis where you really just post the text and you get a response, positive, negative, neutral, or upset. And the idea is whoever consumes this API doesn't have to know anything about the training, GPT-3, anything at all. That's what we want to do. So in order to do this, we need to train the model. Sounds complicated. You'll see in a moment. It's not that complicated. We are generating the Python code or JavaScript code, and we add an API wrapper, and we are ready to go. Okay, so this is the moment where I share my entire screen. Just bear with me for a second. Okay, you need to tell me if you can see that. Maybe the team can patch my screen in again. Are we sharing my screen?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Yeah, we can see it.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. Visual feedback. Okay, here I'm taking a shortcut since we are really not having enough time. You see this here. Now I'm in this playground. You could start writing texts. You can even have it generate Python code. What I'm doing here is really giving it a context. So this is analyzing sentiment from user input. The possible results are positive, negative, neutral, or upset, right? And then you see over here, there is a couple of examples. If the text says the product is terrible, I want my money back. You're just saying, in this case, I can clearly identify the user is upset. Loved it, always buy it again, positive, and you see the examples. So now we can actually test this in the playground directly. Tina, would you give me a text? What should I write? Okay, you on mute? Okay, you know what? I'll just say I love the necklace.
Terrible. Yeah, I want my money back. Probably the tax of a terrible. I want my money back. Yeah. How about that?
I want my money back. Okay, yeah. I want my. Oh well, we have this already, but let's try this out. Okay. Right. So this, you see, the result is upset. Let's remove this and let's take another example and say love the necklace, I will buy the second one for my sister. You see the sentiment is positive. So this is what the AI does. It helps you to complete this. This is the first part, right? And I appreciate that most of you will not have seen this before. So it takes a while to play around with all the parameters, get used to the playground. But you see what's possible. You don't have to be a programmer. You can use the playground to train the model and to get these results. What we can do from here, we can click on this button. It says view code, and it basically generates the Python code, or if you like, the Node.js code that you need in order to build an API. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to copy this out, and we have a small Python program called Sentiment API. We share the Git link with you, so you can clone the repository, try this out yourself. In 2 flavors, we have it in Python, that's what I built. We have it in Node.js JavaScript, that's what Tina built. And you see this here. It's just a few lines, and you see here, this is the piece that we copy pasted from OpenAI Playground, and this is just the small API wrapper that says, if I'm calling Sentiment and I'm posting some text, then I would like you to call this function and return, well, the verdict. Okay. Let's run the code. So this is here Python 3 environment on my local machine, and I can go to my Postman, which you already see. I can send here, and you see here there is the result, which is positive. But now let's change the result to something a little more obscure. The shipment took ages. So this text doesn't have any expressions of I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm upset. It actually says the shipment took ages. Let's just try to see what happens. Negative. Okay, so you can actually see this API understands what customers think. Tina, do you have another example for me that I should try?
Probably I would say, well, it's not too bad overall. We will see. It's kind of like good. So let's see what's the AI returns at.
Okay, it's not too bad overall. Okay, neutral. Not bad, right? That's actually pretty good. Yeah, looking at the clock, we ran through this. So I just, that's why we put this in the slides, which you already find on my GitHub repo and also on API Geek for you to download. You see here, this is the text that we use to program, to train the model, right? You can copy paste this one. You saw as a second step, we pasted this into a minimum Flask API wrapper in Python. You saw us consuming this in Postman, and I can also do this in curl, which is an equivalent. But you see, you have this in slides, so you can digest it in slow motion after the session. But of course, that's just the API. Here's the Python code in Git. You can download this. You can try this out yourself. Tina has done the implementation with API and also a front end. Talk to us about this for a moment, Tina.
Right, sure. Probably here I will try to start sharing my screen. I will see if it works, that you can see the codes and all this. I will try sharing the screen again. Yeah. Okay, seems like only one person can do that. So yeah, let's continue with the slides. So like previously shared with you that we did the coding in Python and also the JS. I mean, for the JS, mainly is to connect to the front, little bit to the front end part, to test out and have a visualized idea about the product itself. So I've been writing few layers of coding, like so that this testing the user can send the codes directly and to fetch the APIs, the returns from the AI directly. So here you can see it's kind of like cropped pictures. The necklace actually, I wanted to say that it's like a lady's purchase, like after purchase, that what will be shown in on the entire screen. Unfortunately, that here you can only see the crop one. That we're not able to show you the entire screen now. That which I did, and after we key in some customer reviews here, then press the submit button here. Then the front end will fetch everything from the engine, and then the next page, which I render the codes to return the result on a slash result page. But everything will run on the local port, which we created on local port 8080. So on the slash page here, you can see the returning words.
Tina, we're not actually able to see your screen, so perhaps this is something we, given the time, perhaps we can leave it as a homework for people.
Yeah, that's actually is the most interesting part, though, that we do some interactions and the demo together.
Yeah. No, that's great.
We were looking at
we've got one
screenshot. We have actually one question from the audience, which is not a question, which is basically a challenge.
Yes.
Daphne asked, "I'm terribly impressed. Let's see what it does."
I'm glad you saw that, because I was going to suggest the same.
Positive. Okay. How about? It's so terrible how impressed I am. Also positive, right?
You can't fool the robots.
Yeah. No, you cannot. Thanks, Akhil, for jumping in. So Tina was actually we were using the backup slide that I put here, and she was talking about what she built because she couldn't share screen. That's it from us.
Maybe I can. Oh, absolutely. Sorry. Thanks for that. Maybe I can suggest popping the links into the chat. So people who are interested can kind of get it up and running on their own machines, and then
exactly
reaching out if they have any questions. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I will post both of them in the chat.
We have
and we have questions.
Everything. Yeah. So
I only had one question for you, which is you showed some of the AI-powered Van Gogh paintings. Have you sold any of them as NFTs?
Absolutely not. There was no blockchain, no NFT involved. Otherwise, you get your money back.
Fantastic. Hey, look, I might just wrap it up there. We are into the lunch hour, and I'm sure people are eager to get that going. So thank you, Uli and Tina, so very much. This is fabulous. I learned a lot.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Akhil. Okay. Thanks, Tina.